Hey YouTubers, thanks for stopping by. I thought I would take a second today and talk about stainless steel frets versus nickel frets. So this guitar right here has its standard frets on it, which are nickel, and I've wore them out. This is my favorite guitar. It's an Eric Johnson Strat, and I teach guitar full-time and play a lot. So the frets have been leveled once and crowned. There's hardly any of them left, and they already have divots in them again. So maybe I'm a heavy-handed player, I don't know. But I do divot up frets. So I thought this time around when I get refretted, I might try and get stainless steel frets put in it. On this guitar that I had built in 2009, that's a Carvin, excuse me, this guitar has stainless steel frets on it. And after a ton of play wear on that instrument, the frets are in awesome shape. They're hardly any use at all. So I thought in this one, I'll take you along on the journey. Today I drop it off at the luthier, so I'm not sure exactly how long he said it will take to have it done. But I thought we would talk about it afterwards to see how it turned out. A lot of times people will talk about stainless steel frets and they talk about how they're harder on strings and the tone is different and stuff. I can't tell any difference between two different guitars. I can tell you that it's not any harder on strings. Just from an experience for 15 years. But, you know, it's two different guitars, so you can't really tell how the tone will change, if at all. So I thought this would be kind of a cool way to see if the tone actually does change at all by going from the nickel frets that came on this guitar to the stainless steel ones. And these ones seem like they're soft to me, if there is such a thing. I don't know. Some guitars I seem to go, put a lot of divots in frets way easier than other guitars, even when they're nickel frets on them. So I'm not sure how that works out. But I thought we could all go along on the journey together. So next time you see me with this, hopefully it has new frets on it, and hopefully I love it. So we'll find out how it goes. Stay tuned. Hey folks, well, it's been about 5 weeks since I shot the little front end of that little video, and I got my guitar refretted and it turned out beautiful. I thought I'd just kind of share my journey with you a little bit. I've never had a guitar refretted before. I never kept a guitar long enough to need it refretted before. So this is my first adventure into this world of refrets, and it was scary. I'm not going to lie to you. This is my favorite guitar, so I was just terrified it was going to come back and not be as it was when I delivered it, to have it refretted. But it was a pretty painless journey. It worked out really good, and I'm real happy with the results. So basically, I had a new tusk nut done, and then I had stainless steel frets installed on it. I don't know if you can tell if it'll focus or not, but they're nice and shiny. A lot of times it wasn't easy finding someone that would do stainless steel frets in my little local area. A lot of luthiers don't want to touch it because it's hard on tools, it's a bunch of extra work, so they make up excuses that they don't sound as good as nickel frets, or they're hard on strings. I knew all that stuff was false because I have a carving guitar, as I pointed out in the front, that I've had for 15 years. And the frets are perfect still, and I've played the crap out of that guitar. So that was the thing. So I found a guy that was willing to do it, and he did a really good job. It took about he told me it'd be 3 weeks, so it was just spot on 3 weeks. And he gave it back to me and said, check it out for setup and that sort of thing. And I found a couple issues with it, and I made a list of things I want to change. I'm probably the pickiest person when it comes to a guitar setup. I set my own guitars up. I know the specs down to a millimeter of what I like. So I listed all of those specs out for him and gave it back to him. And it took about another week for him to get it back to me. And it came back and he has it set up beautifully. Plays great. Sounds awesome. So So let's talk about a couple things I've learned over the years. First off, let's talk about nut material. So obviously the three big things, there's tons of things, antler and all this other stuff, but really most people are probably thinking in terms of plastic nuts, tusk, which is this lubricated material, man-made material, and bone nuts. This had a bone nut on it when I took it over, but I wanted it switched over to a tusk. I have tusks on all my guitars and I really like them. I think they resonate well and it sounds good. And I don't really necessarily want dead animals on my instruments. And he did that, and it worked out really good. Sometimes people will say, oh, well, these guitars are meant to just take the neck off and get a new neck. And I actually thought about that for a hot minute. But the problem with that is I'm a firm believer that what makes a good guitar is how the wood of the neck resonates with the wood of the body. Over the years, I've had countless guitars, and the ones that were good just seemed like the neck and the body went together well. I had a Strat one time, and the truss rod went bad in the neck. I love this guitar. It played great, sounded awesome. It was under warranty, so they sent me a new neck. Put the new neck on it, the guitar never sounded the same again. You know, so I'm convinced it's the way the neck relates to the body. Because we all know every little detail on this changes everything, right? I mean, we put new pickups in, it's going to sound different, you know. Everything should make a difference, somewhat. So I like the tusk nut, so I have that in there. Did a beautiful job on the stainless steel frets. Now one thing, well, first I had to get used to playing this guitar with frets on it again, which was a little weird. But I've been playing it about a week. I played a gig on it this past weekend, and it was awesome. You don't realize how you get used to not having frets on your guitar because they were so worn away. But it plays great and it sounds awesome. But that was the first little thing. The only thing I really noticed different is they're so smooth. Now granted, my other frets were really divoted up and stuff, so that could have a lot to do with it. But like the bending and stuff is so smooth. So yeah, that's the one thing I really noticed about it, is the smoothness of them. It's neat looking down and seeing them all shiny too. On these Fender guitars, they put the frets on and then they lacquer over top of them, and then when they crown the top of them, you have a little silver strip on the top from the factory, and then it's like an orange color on the side of them, and that always made me nuts. I hate that. So I told him specifically I didn't want any overspray on it. And he did a good job. I had him knock down the finish a little bit on it, so it's a little bit more. I mean, it's starting to shine back up already again, but it was a little bit more like a satin finish on it. I sometimes will just take a little steel wool or something to the back of the neck to smooth that out occasionally anyway, but I just kind of wanted that while the frets were off to kind of get it knocked down a little bit. But I'm really happy with it. It was pretty easy. If you guys are thinking about such a thing, it's not a huge deal. To me, it was always like a refret is kind of like a heart transplant on a guitar. You know, I mean, it was a huge deal to me, and I tried not to overthink it or be too worried about it, but it really came out nice, and I'm happy with it. And hopefully this video helps you a little bit. If you like this content, I'd appreciate any help you can give me in subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting below. Have you ever had a refret? Do you have any experience with stainless steel frets? If you do, list it below in case someone's kind of trying to decide for themselves what they want on their guitars. And as always, thank you so much for watching.